The last time Green Bay and Dallas met with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line was a game that's more famous than most Super Bowls and definitely colder, the Ice Bowl. On what was then the coldest day in NFL history, the Cowboys played the Packers for the NFL title and the right to go to Super Bowl II on a frozen Lambeau Field. Trailing 17-14 with no timeouts, the Packers drove to the 1-yard line. And on third down with 13 seconds left, quarterback Bart Starr went over for the winning touchdown. It secured the Packers' third NFL title in a row, and it's been voted the greatest game of all time.
Well, I think they might have to have a recount on the votes after the game we've just seen. I needed a bit of an ice bowl to calm me down. Where were you in '67?
I saw that ice bowl only on television. I watched it, and I watched this one today, and I think this one here today was better than that one. I just can't say enough about today's ball game.
All right, well, the Cowboys have been back to the Super Bowl plenty of times since then. The Packers haven't been back since then, but they're looking good this season.
Reggie White came to Green Bay in search of a championship, and the Reverend on his divinely healed hamstring is playing inspirational football. But nobody on the team, or the league for that matter, is playing better than Brett Favre. Against the 49ers, the NFL's most valuable player upped his touchdown total to 43. The defense did the rest with 4 turnovers. After a shaky spell in Dallas, the boys, with Deion Sanders finally earning his millions, are back to their arrogant best. And that means Jerry Jones is back on the sideline taking the credit. He's desperate to show that he can win a Super Bowl without Jimmy Johnson. And with Johnson now back in the coaching ranks at Miami, that just turns up the pressure a few more degrees on his successor, Barry Switzer.
All right, Jerry, let's start with Green Bay and another man you drafted back in the Falcons, turning to the Jerry Glanville Old Boy Show. This Brett Favre, who's just having an amazing season.
And that's how the Packers have a chance. If he has to play like Harbaugh played today, he's in a zone right now where everything is clicking for him. He's able to find the big tight ends. He can get away. He can't run like Harbaugh, but he can get away from pressure. And how he goes is how the Packers are going to go. It's not a running game. They run this Bennett just as a change-up, not to gain yardage, just to get a little pressure off of him.
And this game we've just seen showed how important that was. The Colts couldn't really run to take the pressure off. The Pack do here.
Yes, and that little run there gives him more time for your next big play down the middle, looking for one of his 2 tight ends.
Now, the Cowboys are obviously going to have to get some pressure on Brett Favre. Charles Haley's been injured, but Leon Lett looks like he's back to his best.
And the best thing that happened to Leon Lett, they moved him back to tackle. When he was playing defensive end, trying to replace Haley, he wasn't as good. There's a big man that can run fast and play inside, and he'll be the big factor today.
Now, I don't think you drafted Deion Sanders, but he played for you, and he's doing well on defense, but he also spreads the field for Emmitt Smith on offense.
Offensively, they're using him more and more, and they used him on the big reverse last week. But he also, when he's in there just as a wideout, it makes the safeties go out and double cover. It gives more running room. Here he is on the reverse. And look at his athletic ability. He just runs away from everybody on the field.
Now, speaking psychologically, here's Deion now at wide receiver, as you were talking about, making a reception in front of Mark McMillan of the Eagles. But let's talk psychologically now, because the Packers have made great strides, but they've lost 5 in a row to the Cowboys under Mike Holmgren. They've lost in the playoffs the last 2 years to Dallas, so they've got a psychological barrier to overcome.
Not only that, football-wise, if you add up the 50 players versus 50 players, the Cowboys are much better. What saves them is the Green Bay is the quarterback. Can he have an unbelievable hot hand today, like he did against the 49ers, and carry the team? 50 against 50, it's the Cowboys ball game.
So that's your prediction, Cowboys against the Steelers?
Well, after today, I'm through predicting. Was this a great... We predicted a great game, and this was the best that we just had.
It was a great game. Let's see if the Cowboys and Steelers, the Cowboys and Packers, rather, can live up to it. The Cowboys trying to go to their 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years. The Packers trying to go to their 1st in 28 years. Here's the game.
Hendricks line drive kickoff sails over the head and out of the end zone. Good way to start it.
Here's a guy who has a tough job today. Eric Williams blocking Reggie White. I have never seen Reggie White as fired up as he is today.
That's Michael Irvin in motion. And Aikman back to throw it. Pass is dropped. Irvin had it, dropped it, but the ball is down. The Packers obviously hoping for a start like they had against San Francisco, but they've marked it as down. Packers have their arms in the air, signifying touchdown. Fred Strickland came up with it. Ed Hockley is the referee. Pass is incomplete.
Second down.
I'm going to say that Michael Irvin didn't have control of the ball. Again, control is having the ball, getting both feet down and ready to run with it. The ball popped out just as he was going down. What a start that would have been for the Packers, though.
Would it have been 2 weeks in a row? 2nd and 10. Emmitt Smith is deep behind Aikman. Aikman will throw again and going deep. Incomplete and no flags.
This is one of the things that the Cowboys have added in the last couple of weeks. Earlier when they played Dion on offense, it would just be on 1st or 2nd down. Now he's in the 3rd down package.
3 wide receivers. Irvin was in the slot. Aikman is down by Reggie White.
I told you Reggie White was fired up. He was fired up and ready to play yesterday. Reggie White has never won. He's never been in a championship game, high school, college, or pros. Watch him right here. Here he is against Eric Williams. He just beats him. He beats Eric with his push. Then he pushes him and then right around him. And when he got around Eric Williams, he saw one thing, number 8, and went after it. Woo!
He knocked Williams back, and then he went around. John Jett back to punt to Antonio Freeman, deep for the Packers. He can be dangerous, is dangerous. They got to throw the ball, but they did. The Packers came after it. Darren Smith came up with the block punt, but the Packers will take over.
The Packers are going to take over at about the 23-yard line. This defense is going out there, and they started to make things happen. They're not special teams. They aren't waiting for something. Look, they're just coming right up the middle. They're going for it. This is the ideal place to go for a block.
Bernardo Harris is the man who blocked it.
And Bernardo Harris wasn't touched. You saw number 54 coming straight up the middle.
So the Packers get the early break.
Every time the Packers have come here before, Pat, they've played soft against this Dallas team. They made one thing say that they weren't going to play soft today. And I'll tell you one thing, whether they're going to play soft or not, they haven't started playing soft today.
They get the turnover very quickly. 4 wide receivers. They open with Brett Favre, the quarterback. Outside quickly, the Cowboys came on a blitz. Favre was in a hurry. 2nd and 10. 3 wideouts. Edgar Bennett's the deep back. Favre fakes to Bennett. Overthrows Mark Chmura. That's 2 that Favre has thrown high.
Part of that is the crown, and part of that is the adrenaline.
Now they go with a nickel package. 4 wide receivers.
And a 3-man line, Pat. You don't see the Cowboys a lot in a 3-man line.
Very rarely. 3rd and 10. Favre has time, throws high again, bounces off the hands of Brooks, out of bounds, caught by Anthony Morgan. That would have been a touchdown if he'd been able to stay in bounds.
15 by the offense. And 3rd down.
Delay of the game, so there was no play.
Yeah, anytime you get a delay of game, if the clock gets to 0 before the ball snapped, the officials blow the whistle. So when they blow the whistle, then that means that the ball is dead then. So there was no play.
No play.
We'll take a look at it anyway. Anthony Morgan is number 81. He's going to come up with it. In fact, if it hadn't been blown yet, that would have been good. That would have been a touchdown.
Right. 3rd and 15. Favre again back to throw. Outside high again. Intended for Antonio Freeman. Favre so far has been high every time.
You know why? And I think it's the crown of this field, Pat. This field in Dallas has the biggest crown there is. And when you're on one hash mark, and if you throw normal height to the other side, the ball is going to be high. I was talking to Jim McMahon about it yesterday. He said you have to throw at a guy's knees to hit him in the shoulder. Look at that crown.
And the Packers practice facility in Green Bay is flat. Jackie from 46 yards will attempt the field goal. Plenty of distance. And the Packers lead 3-0. They got the turnover. They blocked the punt. And they're able to take advantage and get a 46-yard field goal from Chris Jackie. 3-0 Green Bay.
You are looking at one of the best corner takers in the world. And of course, Ryan Giggs. The Citroen ZX with programmed rear wheel steering.
We meant to stay out till 3:30.
Down to 50p.
I've got no doubt. That's the way I tell them.
Back at Texas Stadium, Green Bay leads at 3-0. Hendricks kickoff again, sails in the end zone for Kevin Williams, who's going to stay there. Right now, let's send you down to the sidelines of Matt Millen.
Yeah, John, remember yesterday we watched Brett Favre in practice and he was throwing that crown and the ball kept on coming off high? Well, I talked to him before the game and I asked him about that. And he said, you know what, after I got used to it, I didn't even see it as a problem. But watching him here in that first series, it looks like it's kind of a problem. Patrick, back to you.
All right, Matt, thank you. It does look like a problem.
Yeah.
Every pass he threw was high.
Right, and especially when you're throwing from the far hash mark across to that other sideline, then you're at a higher point, throwing to a much lower point.
1st and 10, Dallas. Novacek on the move. And Emmitt Smith gets the handoff. Smith fumbles out of bounds, gets about 5 yards.
A good block by Moose Johnston on Wayne Simmons. That's what you have to do. If you're going to get outside, if you're going to get around the corner, someone has to make that block to get you around the corner. Moose Johnston, his fullback, did it on that play. Watch him right here. He gets Simmons. Boom! He hits him. Then he gets him turned. And that right there, that little block there, that was enough to get Emmitt Smith that soft corner.
And Emmitt took advantage of it, cutting upfield. 2nd and 4. Deion Sanders in at wide receiver. Aikman gives again to Emmitt Smith. Stumbles across the 25, 26, maybe got a yard.
Big John Yurkovich in there. He's the guy. If you're going to run inside, you're going to have to get those 2 inside guys blocked. John Yurkovich here and Gilbert Brown, the 2 big guys. If you're going to run in here, you have to get these 2 guys blocked. Now, over the years, the Cowboys have done very well at that. That time, they didn't get Yurkovich blocked. You see, he got on Derek Kennard, and he pushed Kennard into the backfield, and there was no place for Emmitt Smith to cut.
3rd down, 2 tight ends for Dallas. Moose Johnston in motion. Aikman back to throw it. Incomplete. Flag on the play. Irvin, the intended receiver, started to cut it to the middle, and they cut him off.
That was a double coverage. That was one of those zone blitzes. We're talking about John Yurkovich giving penetration on the play before, then he dropped back on that one.
Pass interference by the defense. Number 21, automatic first down.
Called against Newsom.
Greg Newsom is number 21. And you see, the thing that you always play Michael Irvin, you want to be aggressive. and sometimes you're a little too aggressive. Now, you can bump that guy, but in that first 5 yards and not when the ball's in the air. Newsome did 2 of those things wrong.
1st and 10, Dallas at their own 40, and Aikman goes back to throw. Dumps it in the middle to Darrell Johnston. Picked up 5.
And again, Big John, Yurkovich is back there. This is a thing that Fritz Shermer likes to do. Now, you know, is blitz a linebacker or a defensive back and then drop a tackle out of there. Yurkovich last week, he got caught on Jerry Rice. He said he covered him pretty well. He said maybe he gave him a little too much cushion, but he thought he did okay. And then the last 2 passes, he dropped out of there.
The winner of this game on 2nd and 5, the winner of this game will play the Pittsburgh Steelers in this year's Super Bowl. Reverse coming. It's Deion Sanders from Smith. Sanders got about 4 yards, not enough for the first down, stopped by George Kuntz.
One thing the Cowboys did this week is they put more plays in for Deion, and of course you got the short passes, the medium passes, and then the runs, the reverse. They also have a play that is going to kind of look like this, like a reverse, but then he's going to stop and go back the other way. And I think this reverse is just to set up a fake reverse.
3rd and 2. They're 0 for 1 in the only attempt so far. 3 wide receivers. This time Smith is the deep back. Emmitt Smith breaks a couple of tackles and gets the first down. Moves into Packer territory.
That's what you want to do, short yardage. That's what Nate Newton is all about. You get in behind Nate Newton, Derek Kennard, Mark Tuinei. That left side, you get Gilbert Brown going back, knock his helmet off. Watch, here's right here. Here's the power here. You want to go right in behind these guys. Watch Nate Newton fire off. Boom, he gets his guy, stands him up, drives him. They leave one, Emmitt Smith takes him. They leave another one, Emmitt Smith knocks his helmet off.
That's mostly Emmitt Smith.
In fact, at the end of it and getting the first down, that was all Emmitt Smith.
1st and 10, Dallas. Smith again. And again, he finds a little bit of room, not much. Matt LaBounty, who replaces Reggie White, made the stop.
One thing, everyone wants to be physical against Michael Irvin. And watch Craig Newsome here. He knows that Irvin is a physical guy, and if you're going to play him, you have to play him like you played Jerry Rice last week, and that's what Newsome is doing. But Michael Irvin isn't going to take it either. I mean, you talk about the most physical receiver in football is probably Michael Irvin.
Yurkovich is injured for the Packers, down on one knee.
That is a big thing, because over the years in those 5 games where the Packers are 0-5 coming in here against the Cowboys, they've had problems in that middle. And they need John Yurkovich in there today, and they need Gilbert Brown to play a good game. And their rookie Darius Holland, if he's going to come in and play, he has to be able to stand and hold up that middle.
Bob Kaburski has come in to replace Yurkovich.
You see what happens? These guys are so strong, this Cowboy offensive line, and they just keep blocking and blocking and blocking. Nate Newton had Yurkovich that time, stayed with him, and then what they try and do is until the whistle blows, they're going to drive you and try and drive you right into the ground.
3-man rush by Green Bay. Aikman back, has time, goes deep for Irvin. Can't come up with it. Newsome right with him. Good coverage.
Hey, there was no time. There was no pressure at all on Troy Aikman. That's what they do to Bob Kaburski in there. They just knock him right out of there. Then they have good coverage downfield. This Newsome is a rookie. I guarantee you, when you get to this point in the playoffs, you're not a rookie anymore.
Yeah, he's a very confident player right now.
I asked him yesterday when he felt that he wasn't a rookie anymore, and he said, well, about the 16th game.
When you first asked him, he said, what? 3 wide receivers, Deion Sanders in. Aikman back to throw. Deion. Inside the 10. Run out of bounds by George Teague.
As we said earlier, the Cowboys have more plays for Deion, and we're going to see a lot more of him. We're going to see a heck of a lot more of him on offense today. He's in the middle. Mike Pryor is going to eventually get to him. You see what they picked him off? He came on across. He got the ball here. Watch, Teague didn't know what to do. He didn't know which move to go for. And finally, Mike Pryor, number 39, comes and hits him. Watch Teague here. He just doesn't want to get beat. He's not going to take an inside. He's not going to take an outside. He's just going to watch the dance and hope that Pryor gets there quickly.
The pick was set up early. Gabe Wilkins makes the stop.
You see what happened to Mark Tuinei there? He started to make a block and his helmet flew off and he had to keep playing because the play was coming at him.
Unseasonably warm in Texas today here at Texas Stadium. Hot almost.
I'll tell you, it's going to be a good sweat day then. Watch Mark Tuinei here. He goes into Sean Jones. Sean Jones punches him right in the face, knocks his helmet off, and then comes and makes the tackle.
That's
football.
Yes,
That's
sir.
football. You hit him, boom, right in the face. Pop, off goes the helmet. Boom, there goes the tackle.
Aikman to throw. Has Novacek at about the 6. Mike Pryor made the stop. That play, that pass completion to Deion Sanders, Novacek got some pick.
That was. I mean, he was looking for someone coming across there, and that was even more of a block. That was like a crackback block more than it was a pick.
3rd and goal at the 6. Reggie White back in.
This is what the Cowboys have always done to the Packers, have good sustained drives with good mixture of run and pass.
7.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Packers leading 3-0. Aikman. Michael Irvin. From 6 yards away, the Cowboys take the lead.
That is determination. He threw that right into double coverage. But I said Michael Irvin is going to be bigger today. He's a playmaker. Playmakers come up big in championship games.
Chris Bonio for the extra point with Novacek holding. Extra points good at 7-3. Dallas over Green Bay. The touchdown from Aikman to Michael Irvin, as John Madden said, into double coverage.
Well, Michael Irvin only had 1 catch all of last week, and it was a touchdown against the Eagles. He's got 1 catch so far, and it's a touchdown, Jerry, but set up by the run by Deion, the catch and run.
Deion's too much, and he gets that ball out in the open field, and he starts that prancing. He looked like a drum major here before he got in the end zone, but he's got the athletic ability. He scares you in the open field faster than anybody on the field.
And he gets a little help from his friends there. Jay Novacek takes somebody out over the middle to help spring him. But
illegal play, by the way. A pick is an illegal play, but it's hard to see all the time. When you're blocking a man that's covering another man in football, that's illegal.
All right, the Cowboys get away with 1. They lead 7-3. We'll take a break.
Trouble with this town is everyone wants to be in the movies. It's pathetic.
Say, you want to be in the movies?
Me?
You've got just what I need. And cut! I love you, and I love you. All right, now it's time for the close-up. Bring in the real actresses.
Ah, give them the 106. I'd rather die.
If you want all this and more, call 1+1. It gets you together. 0891 80 80 80.
This is the best night out ever. And it was grooved away by C. Andrews after receiving his first pay packet. Last year, this booklet also helped over 400,000 other people back to work. Call 0800 250 200 for your copy.
We talk about what a physical receiver Michael Irvin is. Watch him. This is all physical. He's going to get a little double here, but it is a physical thing. He just comes off and he hits Craig Newsome, double coverage. Troy Aikman has confidence in that arm to zing that thing in there.
Bonio kicks off. It'll be Antonio Freeman, and look out for him. Freeman out to about the 25. Here's the play that set up the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's the one that Mike Holmgren is still arguing about. You're going to see right here. Watch Jay Novacek is right here, and watch him pick here. That is darn near, like I said, a crack block. But he just picked off two guys, and that's what Mike Holmgren at then is still arguing about.
Yep.
He said on that play that Deion Sanders caught that ball, our guy was picked. And he was right. Holmgren saw it. We saw it. The officials didn't see it, though.
1st and 10. Edgar Bennett gets the carry. He's hit by Russell Maryland, and that tripped him up.
That's what the Cowboys get in Russell Maryland. He's not a great pass rusher, but he's a heck of a run defender. I mean, he plays in there and just, boom, he hits that thing and gets his penetration. Look at this. This is something new. Yeah. We're in the first quarter. That's instant energy.
Emmett's in the several other businesses. Now he's in the snack bar business.
Well, you know, they have to do that to get those first downs.
Pass from Favre to Shimura is incomplete.
Yeah, it's something how one play can light up a team. I mean, that play, that pass, that crossing pattern to Deion Sanders really lit up this Cowboy team.
Favre yet to complete a pass. Must be having trouble hearing the radio communications as well in his helmet.
I think he's having trouble with a lot of things. I think he has too much adrenaline pumping.
I think
he's
so.
One of those guys that sometimes plays offense like a nose tackle. I think the crown is bothering him. I think the crowd and the noise is bothering him.
Favre with time, throws incomplete. Robert Brooks, the intended receiver. Larry Brown was all over him.
And that's the other thing that's bothering him is this Cowboy defense. They are playing very aggressive. They're playing aggressive on the receivers. They're playing aggressive against the run, and they're trying to get to Brett Favre.
Deion Sanders will return punts. Craig Hendrick to kick it for Green Bay. Deion doesn't need music.
He wants music. He wanted him to play a record when he returns punt. He wanted his own music for punt return.
High kick. Deion signals, fair catch, and makes it at the 35. 6:32 left to play in the first quarter. And the Cowboys on a touchdown pass from Aikman to Irvin lead Green Bay 7-3.
Is it raining? That's right, no charge. No, I assure you I am a qualified solicitor, Mr. Gould.
Yes, thank you.
So, what's the problem with the notice?
Yeah, we're fully confident we should get something for your money. Could I understand the kids have got to get to school. Mr. Nogan, you do realise that you're entitled to a courtesy car while yours is to repair.
To the doctor, but they don't know.
Don't touch the light switch, Mr. Sugarman. Just sit tight and we'll get an emergency plumber around. Yes, it's the proper train. No, you can't be too careful.
morning, Sunderland's Connections. How can I help you?
Whatever your insurance, savings and investment needs, give us the hassle.
Move now to a bank that's cooperative.
So that means I can have an overdraft. Great.
It's as easy as calling 0800 90 50 90.
That's Jim McMahon, Brett Favre's backup in conversation. He's been a big help to Brett Favre.
Well, I think so. You know, he's a big help because he's been in games like this, and you can look at how big that is. Players with championship experience. The Packers have 9. The Cowboys have 36. So having a guy like Jim McMahon on your team that can help Brett Favre with his experience, and part of his job is not to tell him a lot about the plays and what to do, but is just kind of to calm him down.
Favre will say to him, "What are they doing?" And McMahon says this is the way they're covering things. Favre is now talking to his help up in the press box. Sometimes you see more from up there than you do from down on the field, and sometimes the reverse is true.
Well, he's going to miss his quarterback coach, Steve Mariucci, who's now the head coach of the University of California.
Emmett Smith behind the line of scrimmage. Deion Sanders on 2nd and 11. Aikman gives to Emmett Smith, who gets just about 3 or 4. Wayne Simmons made the stop.
One thing the Packers are doing is they're playing that line of scrimmage a lot more physical. You see John Yurkovich is back in there now. He had that little injury, went out for a play or two, but he's back. He has to be physical in there. Reggie White, you know, is going to be physical. He's fired up today. Gilbert Brown, he has to be able to handle that middle. And they have to be able to take care of that business first.
If you're not fired up today, you need a new pilot light.
You got to bring all your stuff off the shelf. They're playing a 3-man line now.
Aikman to throw. Irvin makes the catch. Coverage is good. He fights for yardage, doesn't get the first down.
Again, that was just a physical play by Michael Irvin, but that was a heck of a play by Craig Newsome, not letting Michael Irvin get that first down. Yeah, you talk about a matchup. To watch Eric Williams here, the first move he's going to make is boom. He's going to put his right hand right up in Reggie's face. And Reggie says that's the thing that he doesn't like, but you can't stand there fighting about it. You hope that the official sees it because you got to continue on your pass rush.
He was looking to the official to see if he did. John Jett, his first punt today, remember, was blocked by the Packers. This one they don't put the heat on. Antonio Freeman gets away from one. Bates takes him down. Bill Bates down to make the stop on Antonio Freeman. That was after Charlie Williams missed.
So the Cowboys lead 7-3. They've just been stopped there. Some good work inside by Reggie Smith and company to stuff Emmett. But what about Brett Favre? He hasn't completed a pass in 5 attempts. They were talking about the camber of the field at Texas Stadium, but do you think it's anything else?
I think he's probably just adrenaline flow. I think knowing when I coached him, he's like an offensive guard. He's a hard-nosed, tough guy, and he's probably really emotional right now, and you just got to settle him down, calm him down. Much like when Harbaugh started, they started very... they're just running the ball. They didn't take many chances. Then finally they opened it up, and they got to let him work all this adrenaline out of him and relax. He's not playing relaxed right now.
All right, let's see if he's calmed down. It's the Packers back in possession as we rejoin it.
In the NFC Championship game at Texas Stadium, Dallas 7, Green Bay 3. Packers ball at their own 15.
You talk about a guy who is fired up and a guy who wants this game. He's still talking about what Eric Williams did, punching him in the face. Then he told Mike Holmgren that. Then he started to talk to his whole team. Look what they're doing to us. This guy was fired up. This guy wants this championship I think more than anyone has ever wanted a championship football.
Well, he's never been this far before in his great career. Packers run the ball on first and 10 with William Henderson, the ball carrier. There's Eric Williams.
Yeah, he's the other side of that. He's the puncher. We just watched the punchee talk to his coach. The puncher is just batting his eyes a little, but I'll tell you, there's a tough guy too. Eric Williams, you know, he has a little bad knee now, but to me, when he's healthy, he is the best tackle in all football. He's the best offensive lineman in all football, and he is one tough guy. He plays like a defensive player.
Edgar Bennett was split wide to the right, and Deion Sanders is covering him. Leon Lett intercepts the screen pass from Favre. Leon Lett, all 6'6" of him in Favre's path.
Leon Lett is the guy who just, the play before that, he stopped the run. And you're going to watch Leon Lett here. Last week, he raised all kinds of havoc. Watch him here. He starts on the pass rush. Then he feels the screen. It was going to be a middle screen. He was trying to get the ball in the middle. Leon Lett came off his pass rush and got right in front of Brett Favre. He's trying to throw it to number 25. Dorsey Levin's there. Leon Lett started his pass rush, felt Levin's come in the screen. It's a middle screen. Most screens are outside right or left. That is a middle screen, and Leon Lett got right into it.
Cowboys 1st and 10. Down inside the 10 is Emmitt Smith, but there's a penalty flag down.
Well, there's some hitting down there on that one.
Oh, boy.
We talk about line play in the pits and hitting. That's what that was.
This against Green Bay. Face mask.
Face mask by the defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty only. Half the distance to the
Big
goal.
Gilbert Brown.
Repeat first down.
Yeah, let's watch the interception again, Pat. We're going to watch Leon Lett on the right side of the screen. Looks like Brett Favre is feeling a little pressure there, and if you don't have a screen, you always throw it away.
And there was not much pressure.
No, but it looked like he felt it or he manufactured it. But anytime you see that there's anyone there on the screen, if they read it and it's not going to work, you just throw the ball away.
1st and goal at the 5, 2 tight ends. Novacek goes in motion. Emmitt Smith gets to about the 4.
There we saw a shot over there of Charles Haley and how excited he was when Leon Lett made that interception. Well, since Charles Haley's been out with that back surgery, Leon Lett has really stepped up his play. I mean, last week in the playoff game, he dominated, and this week he's starting that same type of game.
And he's sort of Charles Haley's pupil.
I know. Look at the first guy there when he comes off the field is Charles Haley. I watched him at practice, and Charles Haley does coach Leon Lett.
On 2nd down, Aikman looking. All kinds of time. Touchdown to Michael Irvin. His 2nd from Aikman. Emmitt Smith down on the field. 4-yard touchdown pass from Aikman to Irvin, but Emmitt Smith is down. Kevin O'Neill, the trainer, out checking him out.
And Emmitt Smith made a heck of a play fake. That's what he does to you, because you say, we have to stop the run. We have to stop the run. Watch them all come towards Emmitt. When he fakes that, this is all about a fake and about pass protection. Troy Aikman had so much time, he could look to about 5 receivers, the 5th one being Michael Irvin.
Bonio for the extra point with Novacek holding, and the Cowboys trying to add to their lead. Bonio does, and it's 14-3. You got to take advantage of turnovers when they come your way. Green Bay got 3, Dallas got 7. The Cowboys 14, the Packers 3. We're still in the first quarter. Michael Irvin scored both touchdowns. There's Fritz Shermer. who runs the Packer defense. They've been put under a lot of pressure.
Well, they had the Deion reverse. They had the Deion Sanders catch. They had Michael Irvin making catches and being real physical. They had Troy Aikman drilling the ball in them. They've had excellent pass protection. You see, after Troy Aikman throws a touchdown, look at that group that he goes and shakes their hand. That's that offensive line. That was all about a good play fake and good pass protection because he had so much time.
Bonio kicks off. Freeman will handle it at the 2. Freeman hit by Swans. And down he goes. The Packers take over at about their own 27. Trailing 14-3. We're still in the first quarter.
You know, we've done a lot of Cowboy games this year, and don't you just feel that they've really stepped up the intensity? There's Ray Donaldson, who was the center for much of this year. In fact, he was injured, broke a leg, had pins in his leg, just removed the other day. He was injured on Thanksgiving Day, and until that time, I thought he was one of the best offensive linemen on this Cowboy team. He really made a difference.
First and 10, Green Bay. Favre fakes to Bennett. Got Brooks, and Robert Brooks will not be caught. Touchdown, Green Bay, and they're back in it. That's Favre's first pass completion, 73 yards.
And if you're going to make one, you better make it a great one, and he did. Robert Brooks went right by Larry Brown. Larry Brown is not the best speed in the league, and once Brooks got a step on him, he was wide open, and Brett Favre threw a perfect pass.
A new team playoff record. The record had been held by Boyd Dowler. And things have turned around.
You see what he did there? He made a little move right there on Larry Brown. Larry Brown couldn't get a bump or a jam on Robert Brooks. He got behind him, and then Larry Brown was no match for Brooks' speed.
Brooks was pulling away. Jackie for the extra point. Hendrick is the holder. 14-10. A minute 59 left to play in the first quarter, and this has been full of fireworks and everything we expected.
And I think Brett Favre was looking for a chance to get the ball to Robert Brooks. That's his favorite receiver. Everyone thought when the Green Bay Packers lost Sterling Sharp that was going to be the end of the year. Robert Brooks has really stepped up. We thought Deion Sanders was going to be on him most of the time. This time it was Larry Brown. And you're going to see him right here. Now watch, Brown is going to come up, and he's going to walk up here, which is okay, but he misses him, and then Brooks just gets beyond him, and then from that point on, it's a touchdown. This safety gets held up here. See, he's looking to the tight end. He has the tight end, so there's no help at all for Larry Brown. So when Larry Brown doesn't get a jam or a bump, then that is a mismatch in speed.
And it's 14-10. Robert Brooks, of course, in Green Bay would be jumping into the stands.
You know what he does, Pat? He takes the stadium survey. The Packers were out here yesterday. Robert Brooks went all around the stadium to see if he scored a touchdown, if there was a place that he could jump, and he said they're all too high. There's no place to jump.
That's a good, wise survey he took. Kevin Williams brings it out to about the 32-yard line, where he's taken down by Bernardo Harris, who blocked the punt earlier. One thing about Brett Favre and the Packer receiving core, you're talking about Sterling Sharp, he has really spread it around. Brooks is the key man, but they all catch passes.
And I think that's made Brett Favre a better quarterback, because in not having to throw to Sterling Sharp, then he doesn't have to force it. So he just goes back and he looks for the open guy. And it could be Brooks, it could be a tight end, it could be the other wide receiver, it could be Levens, Edgar Bennett. He just mixes it up.
Johnston was the man in motion. Emmitt Smith has the ball. Emmitt bounces it inside and knocked out of bounds after he picked up about 3 by Doug Evans.
You know, that's what a strong arm by Brett Favre does for you, too, because the first 3 drives, the Packers had 9 plays, no yards. And then they come in, and then 1 play, 73 yards.
You know, the Packers last week against San Francisco did an outstanding job of tackling in the secondary. And that's what they're going to have to do today as well.
Yeah, because the last time they played against the Cowboys, their tackling was atrocious. It was terrible.
Second down, about 8. Blitz coming. Aikman has to unload, and it's on the carpet.
You know what they did? They played him in what Fritz Shermer calls a big nickel, 5 defensive backs. One of those guys on the blitz was Leroy Butler. He's going to come right up here. He's number 36. He was the 5th defensive back in there. There's a linebacker. There's Butler coming right there. And see, that's the same defense that they used. That's right. Here's Leroy Butler right here. You see, and he's the 5th defensive back that plays like a linebacker. That's the defense they had so much success with last week against the 49ers.
That position they call the lurch position, played by Leroy Butler. Timeout, Dallas.
That's one thing that Fritz Shermer has always liked to do. And when he was at Arizona, he called it a big nickel. Here they call it the Packer. But his play with 4 defensive linemen, just 2 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs, with one of those defensive backs being a linebacker type of guy that can be either linebacker if it's a run or defensive back if it's a pass.
Ernie Zampese, who is the offensive coordinator now for the Cowboys, was with Fritz Shermer when they were both with the Rams those years, 87 through 90, offense against defense.
Yeah, and then they played so many games against each other where, you know, Ernie was here and Fritz Shermer was in Green Bay and so on, and they really know each other well, and they try and get each other's rhythm. I mean, Ernie is calling the offensive plays, so he's trying to get into Fritz Shermer's rhythm of calling defenses, and Fritz Shermer says that what he tries to do is get Ernie's rhythm to call the defenses against him, and he said it's tough. They both say it's tough.
Well, you only got to be wrong once.
The Cowboys just were wrong on their defense.
Here's Aikman, a reverse to Deion Sanders. Deion. They might have got a yard, might have gotten maybe 2. Not much more than that.
One thing Mike Holmgren was saying yesterday, that when Deion plays offense, you can hit him. When he plays defense, you can never get to him.
Nate Newton down after that play. Now he gets off the field, or is still trying to get off the field.
But watch, when Deion Sanders runs the ball, he draws a crowd of green jerseys, because that's what Holmgren says. He said when he runs the ball and when he gets it, we are really going to go after him, because then we can hit him.
Now it's tough to dance with 4 people on top of you.
And it's tough if the Cowboys don't have Nate Newton, too. And he's not only a big part of this offense as a blocker, but he's a big part of the heart and soul of this Dallas Cowboy offense.
So the Cowboys will have to punt with 56 seconds left in the first quarter. Dallas leading 14-10. Green Bay's already blocked 1 punt. Antonio Freeman is back deep for the Packer. They're not coming after this one. And John Jett gets off a rocket. That had some jets in it. This is Freeman, and look out for him. Bonio. Jett takes him down by the face mask. John Jett, the punter, grabbed him by the face mask, took him down, and the flags come flying.
I think that was the only way Jett was going to get him. Jett was the last guy there, and if Jett doesn't get Freeman, no one gets him. Freeman goes for the straight arm. Jett just goes right through it and grabs whatever he can, and it just happens to be a face mask.
And as you say, that's the only way he would have stopped him, because he was gone.
Antonio Freeman has turned into a heck of a player for this Packer team, both as a receiver and a punt returner. Watch these moves that he makes. Then when he gets by here, he puts on the burst. He tries to make the move and the stiff arm, and John Jett made a heck of a play of just running right through the stiff arm.
If he doesn't do this, the Packers have the lead.
I know. When you get a stiff arm like that, you have to run through it. He got stiffed arm to the face mask, and then he had to retaliate with a face mask.
Nate Newton over on the sideline. They're checking him out. It's first down, Packers at the Dallas 35.
Isn't it funny how one play can turn things around? Brett Favre goes back, throws that deep one to Robert Brooks, and then the whole thing changes in the Packers' favor.
Mike Holmgren calls the offensive plays for the Packers. 4 wide receivers for Green Bay this time. Edgar Bennett's the lone setback. They really haven't tried to run much. And now Bennett inside the 30, about the 27, run down from behind by Shante Carver.
Adam Timmerman, the rookie 7th-round draft choice who has to block Leon Lett, did a good job that time. Because if they're going to be able to run, they have to get Leon Lett blocked. And Timmerman, the rookie, turned Lett to the outside.
Word from the Cowboys is that Nate Newton has a left knee sprain, and it's questionable whether or not he'll be back. And they would, as John Madden said, miss him. That's the end of a quarter. It's 14-10. Dallas on top.
Well, Jerry, the Packers are right back in this one after that 73-yard touchdown pass from Favre to Brooks, and really it shows you what a game of momentum it is. It looked like they'd given it away when they blocked the punt and didn't get in, but Favre just got it right back for them.
The thing I wonder is, where's Dion? Why wouldn't he be covering the man with the speed? Dion hates to play the left quarterback on defense. He'd rather stay right, which he was on that touchdown. He never feels comfortable over on the left side, but you got to match him up with speed. They had a slow guy and a fast guy. You're looking for trouble. That's an interesting point. And seeing Dion on offense, he's a threat, but people like to hit Dion. You wonder how much Dion likes to be hit. Plus, when he's hit like that, when I had him, he will fumble the ball. So they got to be careful with if people are going to get to him and hit him, that ball will come out.
All right, 14-10. We'll take a break, and we'll be back after this.
Woke up this morning. Feeling a bit below par, actually.
Hello, Talking Pages.
Yeah, I'm in Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Need a locksmith.
Locksmith.
A suit hire.
And a taxi to London.
When you need help to make life run a little smoother, remember, Talking Pages is just a free phone call away.
I do.
Talking Pages. Call free 24 hours a day on 0800 600 900.
(14-10) Dallas over Green Bay. Chris Jackie loosening up as the Packers are in his field goal range right now. 2nd and 2.
Deion Sanders is looking for Robert Brooks. I'm sure that he was going to be on Brooks most of this game. And after they saw the mismatch of speed when Larry Brown was left on Brooks, I would think that the Cowboys would keep Deion Sanders on Brooks the rest of this game. But he's not on this play because Brooks isn't an outside receiver.
Brooks is in the slot.
There's Brooks right here.
There goes Brooks in motion. Brown's going to have him again. Favre is looking in that direction, but Bennett gets the carry, and he's close to a Packer first down. Again, let's go down to the sidelines and our reporter, Matt Millen.
Yeah, guys, I'm down here and I'm looking at Nate. Nate's walking back and forth and trying to take the pressure off that thing. The only thing he says is he gives me a wink, and I know if Nate gives me a wink, things are pretty good.
He'll be back.
That's one football player talking to another football player. You don't need, how you doing, you okay, and, what do you got? You got a medial collateral, you got a patella, you got what? They just wouldn't say, yeah, that's okay. Give me a drink of water and I'll go again.
Here's Favre. Keith Jackson, touchdown Green Bay.
That's what the Packers needed. Again, Brett Favre is going to have to do it. He got good pass protection, good time. Keith Jackson right down the middle, just like they did last week against the 49ers.
Jackson from Favre.
Hey, Brett Favre started out cold, didn't have this thing figured out, but Mike Holmgren helped him figure it out. Jim McMahon helped him figure it out, and now he's going out and executing.
And it's the Packers on top 16-14 with Chris Jackie trying to make it 17-14 with Craig Hendrick holding.
Boy, did that quiet down the crowd, huh?
Jackie makes it 17-14. Green Bay leads by 3.
Look at this, Keith Jackson right down the middle.
Jackson. Packers have the lead.
The Citroen ZX handles superbly due to its programmed rear-wheel steering system. So how well does it take bends? Allow me to demonstrate. Well, it's no fun if it's too easy.
You can't always give in to cold and flu. So to relieve all your cold and flu symptoms, Nurofen introduced Nurofen Cold and Flu.
He'll take good care of that, just like Boots Opticians did with me. Very thorough eye test. The optician made it clear exactly what was right for me. As for frames, it was good to get some advice. Decided on a designer pair. After all, everything in their sale's half price. Nice to know someone else cares about my eyes. That's really worth something.
Half-price frames at Boots Opticians. We care because you do.
This is the finest Indian meal ever served. And it was eaten by Jay Ludden on the evening of her first day back in work. Last year, this booklet also helped over 400,000 other people back to work. Call 0800 250 200 for your copy.